Excuse me. Please.
This is about you and us.
Please.
This is about you and us. This is about you and us. Not anybody else.
Excuse me.
You were
Have
misled.
attention, please.
We will walk out.
All right. I'll speak to you afterwards, ma'am, with your people. And anybody else who wants to speak to me afterwards, I'll be late for the parade if I have to. I don't think it's appropriate that people don't have an opportunity to speak. I've been to so many town hall meetings. I've had people criticize me for years. I think everybody should be given an opportunity to speak. That's the spirit of America. Okay, let me just make it very clear.
Then that gentleman should be given the opportunity.
Please.
Yeah.
I want to make a couple things very clear. Number one is, I'll do anything I can to try and prevent terrorism in the world. Anything.
You did exactly opposite.
I know that terrorism has emanated from this area, and that things have to be done to address terrorism emanating from this area. That is not something new that I need to be educated on. I'm well aware of that fact. Secondly, I want to make it clear that I understand that India is a sovereign country and has its rights to govern its country the way it sees fit to govern. Read my
Hold the
letter.
claps.
I do not say that, oh, you shouldn't have done this, or you shouldn't have done that, or you should do this, or you should do that. I laid out what the facts were as to what's transpiring, and said I'm very concerned about the violence that will emanate because of this.
Sir, they were one-sided. They were one-sided. It was not true. Absolutely one-sided. Sorry,
And
sir.
people can decide.
Sorry, sir.
You know, I've heard some very hurtful things here today, and I understand that people are hurt by my actions. And I should have consulted my Indian American friends before I released this letter. Yes. And I understand that. But the idea that, 20 years of work is evaporated like that is very hurtful to me. Let me make very clear that I've said this directly to my Pakistani American friends as well. India is moving forward dramatically in the world. And I believe, I don't want any applause, please, or booze. As a matter of fact, no booze. But I believe India is moving forward dramatically. And I think that the most important relationship for the United States of America for the next 50 years is with India, because of the way it has conducted itself and the way that it's moving forward into the modern world, and because of its democracy and its rule of law. Quite frankly, one of the things I'm most confident about is that whatever is done in India, the Supreme Court will rule on it at some point or another, because they respect the rule of law. And if something was done inappropriately, we have a lot of constitutional experts in this room. I'm a lawyer, a CPA. I'm not a constitutional expert on this issue, and I would venture that some of you are not either. But I'm confident that the Supreme Court in India will ultimately make decisions based upon the rule of law. And we cannot let things happen where we shut people down from talking, we close people off because of perceived security. That's a very dangerous concept. I've said to my Pakistani American friends that I believe India is moving forward and Pakistan has a serious challenge before it because its civilian government does not have enough influence. Because the military and the ISI has so much influence over their government that they're not moving forward. You and I all know Indian Americans, Pakistani Americans, Kashmiri Americans, and they're some of the most talented people in this area. On both Indians and Pakistanis, incredible talent. But I believe that that talent is not being realized in Pakistan because of the way that their government conducts itself with the military and the ISI. I'm not saying something shocking or something I haven't said in public before or said to my Pakistani American friends. I wrote this letter because I wanted to try and represent the people that I represent because they could not contact their family members and because there was something precipitous happening. I did not say this was wrong to do, that was wrong to do. I said I'm concerned that this will result in more violence. I'm not going to retract saying that. What I will amplify in comments that I make going forward is that I was mistaken in including certain quotes in the letter from newspaper articles and quotes about Hindu nationalism and comments along that lines that could be interpreted, which did not intend, could be interpreted as not being supportive of India's sovereignty or of its prime minister. I've met with Prime Minister Modi in the past, and I hope to meet with him again in the future. I've called the General Counsel, Counsel General, Sandeep Chakravarti. I've talked to many other people that are not in this room about this issue. I'm very concerned about the impact this has had on my relationship with people in the Indian American community. I deeply am upset by that. I'm particularly upset by some of the comments that I heard by some of the people in the audience here today. But I will work hard to try and rectify the situation. To be clear, I will not be a phony. I will not be a hypocrite. And I will not say that I am not concerned about this issue. I am concerned, and you should be concerned as well. I'm not saying what should be done or should not be done, but people have to have a conversation about what steps need to be happening going forward to try and address this very serious issue in the world. I will be happy to meet with people who want to try and give me more information and educate me further on this issue. I always have more to learn on this issue. I would encourage us to invite some other folks from the Pakistani American community to join in that same meeting as well, to at least make their points of view known, as should be done in a democracy, that people should be educated. I cannot solve the problems of India and Pakistan, obviously. That is not within my purview.
Then we should stay out of
I'm
it.
not going to try to do it either. I'm not going to try to do that. But I am going to try and work with my constituents to listen to their concerns and understand their concerns and do the best I can to try and represent them. For those of you that have been hurt by my actions, I sincerely apologize. I did not mean to offend you in the way I did, and I understand why you're upset. I really do understand. And it was a very wrong thing for me not to consult with you before I released this letter. I could have written a letter, I could have made the points that I wanted to make about my concern for this region, that I wanted to know what the Secretary of State had to say and the advice that he could give on this issue. I could have gotten that point across without some of the comments that were made there. So I want to thank everybody for their time. I'm sorry that I can't just wave a magic wand and give people that are demanding certain things what they want the way they want it. If I did, you wouldn't ultimately respect me in the long run anymore. So I want to thank everybody for their time. I want to again apologize to my friends that I put in a very awkward position. I want you to know that I'm going to continue to work hard to represent you, and that I'll do what I can to try and rectify the situation. Thank you very much.
Guys, just 1 second.